Welcome back to the garage. I'm in the back half of the garage today where I hope to one day do my printing operations. I'm trying to figure out a place to put the motor control box for this printing press right here. So this is the press that box is for that I worked on in the first video. This is a Chandler and Price Craftsman 10x15, made in 1939 or thereabouts. I'm in the middle of doing some restoration work. I didn't originally plan on stripping it and repainting it, but the ink fountain and ink disc were pretty badly caked with ink. There was this big thick rim of ink stuck to the back of the ink disc, and the ink fountain was completely jammed up with ink. So that all came off, and in trying to get the ink off, I ended up taking the paint and figured, oh well, I guess that's a sign I should just repaint the whole thing. So I took it apart, cleaned it up, painted it, put it all back together, yeah, so I didn't want to do too much. I wanted to keep the press in working condition. I don't want to do a full tear down and end up with 1,000 pieces everywhere. The feeder is missing right now because it was kind of the next stage of that, and I can run the press by hand without the feeder. So the ultimate plan for my garage space, the printing space, which is the back half of my garage, is to turn the printing press 90 degrees. So, slide it under that. Alright, line it up a bit better. So if you don't have a pallet jack and you have heavy things, you're making a big mistake. This has saved me a lot of time and moving things around even. It means I don't need to go rent one or find one. My floor isn't level, so I have all this wood stacked under the skid to make moving the press easier. And that's another thing I want to point out is the skid. This is made out of 3 half-inch sheets of plywood. I had one big sheet cut into 3, so they ended up being 32 inches wide each. And then to the bottom of that are 3 skids made out of 2 2x4s put side by side. 4x4s would have worked, but that would have meant buying 12 feet of 4x4, which the hardware store didn't carry, and I didn't feel like buying 2 8s and having to deal with extra material, so I just bought some 2x4s and screwed them together. It was actually, I think, what I had in hand, to be honest. So those 3 sheets of plywood I glued and screwed together with a whole load of screws. Screwed these skids on the bottom, and it gives me a really solid platform for the press to be on, so whenever I need to move it around or anything, it's stable. I also used that to drag it off the trailer when I got it here. I don't think I've ever lifted it with a forklift with that though. Anyway, let's move this thing around. Oh, I should also add pallet jack, $150, which was money well spent. So I'm trying to position this so it's somewhat snug up against the wall. At the same time, I need a bit of room to work around it. A little bit crooked still. Pallet jack is a bit of a snag that it wants to keep jacking all the time. I haven't adjusted the linkage. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. All I need to do now is just drop the pallet jack, and I might level the press up a bit just so it's not leaning to one side. Oh look, a screwdriver. Huh. So it's looking good. Let's see when I drop it down. Okay, how does that put me? Huh, not bad. Just wanted to show when it's not in use. I just tucked the pallet jack under one of the linotypes. I don't think I'll ever use both linotypes at the same time, so it's not really in the way there. So I was thinking of maybe mounting the whole speed control box and other things somewhere here. Okay, I went rooting through the pile of plywood and thought I had a bigger piece, but it looks like for 3/4 inch plywood, this is about the biggest piece I have left. I have some 5/8, but I like 3/4 inch for backer boards. Just feels more skookum. Both sides are kind of ugly. I can sand it a little, but if I attach it to that, that's too high up. It's a little awkward. It would be nice to have it. Although I do need to get behind the press, but maybe, you know, down around here, because the speed control box is going to be on here and some other stuff. So I think I may end up actually having to do some tap cons or something and screw this into the blocks. So I'm going to flop this on the floor, and we'll take a look at what needs to go on this board eventually anyway. So on here we have the speed control transformer. My initial plan was to kind of do all the junctions on a bigger box strapped to the side of the motor, but I changed my mind because it means, what does it mean? It means that, I can't remember. Anyway, I did come up with a good reason. You'll have to just trust me. Anyway, that box to contain all the junctions, so the flex conduit that'll go to the speed control, or the start-stop switch actually, will run into this, along with some 2-wire armored cable to the motor. And then just hanging off the side of that will be this, which will have a disconnect switch that'll disconnect both legs, so that I can change the speed without the zippiness that discussed previously. And then coming out of this, it'll eventually be wired into the garage here, but for now it'll just be just a strain relief and a cord coming off of that. So I'm changing. So if I do that, this goes towards, this is the side I can get to easierly. So if I do that and then that means I can just reach up and clip the disconnect, turn the thing off when I need to without having to unplug it or unwire it. So I've got this wire here, and I fished this out of a dumpster a few years ago. So this is 4-wire 12 gauge, which is perfect for this. I'm contemplating plan B, which is actually someone else's plan A, or maybe it was their plan B as well. While I was rooting around trying to find, it's 3/4 inch, crap. While I was rooting around trying to find my flat belt, I came across this, which I'd saved from when I received the press, and this is what used to connect the speed controller to something, or but I don't know what, and it was just kind of hanging off of this thing. Actually, I don't even know it was attached, but that's a 3/4 inch thread. So I may be taking that out and going back to the original pipe pushing. Why am I fighting with this when I've got... I'm going to go get a better one. I went with blue. I felt bad for it because it was sad. Because it's blue. Alright, pop that one out of there. Disassemble that. Put the original back in. Doesn't really need to be a gas tight fitting. And then this, which presumably was just thread it into there. Let's get some faces one way. I saw my vise up there too badly. Let's move that out a bit. Looking through. Probably rotate this a bit to get to the top side of that cut. like I'm done. I should, if I'm done properly. Nope, I still got a bit more to go. Rotate that a bit more. There we go. A nice, somewhat clean end. Just get out a file and quickly clean that up a bit more. Okay. Let's get rid of some of these sharp edges here. That point can go. Inside needs some deburring action. I don't know if my noggin's in the way. Hopefully not. Created a sharp edge there. Knock that edge off. Alright. I think that's good. It's not terrible. Pop this back in here. Make sure that screws back off. Pop that in there. Do this right, I should be able to thread that in and then lock it down. Whoa, this feels like, oh, that's no good. Kind of bottomed out the screw. I have to rethink that strategy. High spots. Okay. Oh, look what they did! They put a sticker right over all of the knockouts. Oh. Who thinks of these things? Let's see. Oh, and it's the kind that leaves... Really? That drives me batty. Oh, well, I'm going to leave that for a different time. But I do want this bottom knockout, I think. Right about there. So this is a double dealie. I'm going to go find a hammer. Just going to use this to kind of poke out the first knockout so that I can get in there and lift up this 1 inch or the 3/4 inch knockout. Everything's painted shut on this thing. So it's, that's lovely. Oh, nice. All right. That lines up nicely. Okay, we'll throw this little thingamajigger on there. Bit of a bump there with the knockout came out. So I'm just gonna drop that. There's Dexter barking. Let's do this. That looks better. All right. Hooray! It's connected. I'll set this to be, I think I can do 1 inch. That'll look okay. Yeah. So I found some number 8 1-inch screws. A few here. Hopefully they'll be short enough. We'll see. If they come through a little, it's okay. That's the shortest I've got. Okay, that's definitely not falling off of there now. Oh, there's the lid. That'll hang on there. So I'll just reposition the camera, and I don't want to put this on while I don't know the offset or how I'm going to attach it. Let's reposition and have a chat about that. So I'm looking at this, and I think I will end up using one of those offset fittings, because it creates about that much of a gap, and I think it's offset around 3/4 or 1/2 inch, which means I can just rotate it around till these two line up and screw this down, which means I can't screw this down. The other thing, I can't find the switch that I had saved. I think I saved. So I'm going to use this switch instead. I mean, this looks perfectly safe. I think this will do the job nicely. I can just drop that down in there, connect the wires, and then I can drill a hole and put a bit of string through the lid, I thought, that would pull on this. And then I can drill a hole at the back and have another piece of string, or, you know, it would even be safer, I can have a spring keeping it shut. And then this, no, I'm kidding. I bought that because it was funny. So I gotta find the switch for that. I gotta get the bushing. I might get a new switch. I don't want to. I'll keep looking. But if I can't find my flat belt for my press, which by the way I'm still looking for, then chances of finding that are getting scarily slim. The next thing to sort out is attaching the speed control box to this piece of wood. Now I don't want to have to lift the whole thing up and screw it all to the wall as one big lump. I want to be able to pop this off so I can attach this without giving myself a hernia or something. So I've got these. These are what they call T-nuts, which maybe that means terror because they're kind of mean looking. And some bolts and washers to fit them. What I should actually check is if that fits the, oh perfect, the slots on that thing, and it does. So I'm just going to square this thing up here. Same way I did the box. Two. Well, it should be the same. Yep. And then mark those holes so I can. Like an idiot! I screwed all this down. Oh no, yes I did. I can drill those out. I don't know if I should drill the other two or just leave them, because that way I can hang the control box and then fire 2 lug bolts in, lag bolts. So I went and found this. This is one of those speed bore bits. It'll drag your arm through a hole if you give it a chance. But I think it's the right size. I was using it for running some wires, and I hit some nails and screws with it, so it looks pretty rough, but it's still. Wait. It still gives her. I'll just let it go through. There we go. Everything's falling. I think that's right where I want it. Perfect. Oh, right on my telephone switches. Not cool. So I'm going to mark the top 2. I kind of position this. I don't want to make these too close, sure they're slots. What am I doing? I don't know why I'm fighting this. I've got a slot for consistency. I'll plug the hole 1/4 inch from the end of the slot. How does that put me? That's good. And I'll just eyeball the middle. Same thing here. goes where that it knocked over. 1/4 inch. And make some holes. There. Okay, I can pop these T-nuts in. Just kind of jam them in my hand. I'm drilled all over the place. Bolt and a nut. Washer, I mean. In there. That. Once I finish this, very nice. Now these things are neat because there's no fighting. They just drop the bolt in. You don't have to worry about what's on the other side or lining things up. All that work's been done. Good. Oh, ha! I checked the threads and then I switched to metric. Good thing I have a nice yeah. Actually, because of the dead spot near the head, it slides around easier. Put the files away, I'll be right back. Let's flip this puppy over. Took the bend out of that. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I think 2 is adequate. I'll put I'll put some screws in just so it doesn't flex like that. But I don't think I need more boltage. So those came through a little bit. Not bad. Now I can reconnect that. Alright. I think I'm at the point where I can start to look at doing some running some wire. Most of what this is going to connect to is actually done. This box will need to be attached somewhere, but I can't do that yet. Coming out of here will be one connection for the motor, and then there'll be another flex conduit connection that goes to the speed controller. I'm going to throw some wire in here. Oh look, what's on my floor. That was the other thing I did last night after the battery died, or the card was full, was to finish stripping that wire back to get at its juicy, yummy innards. Oh, I keep on doing this, I may as well do it again. The easiest way to do this is going to be to straighten this stuff out, line it up, plug it in. Perfect. I say perfect a lot. It's not really actually perfect. Huh. Oh, I see. Well, this conduit, so I should be able to slip that. kind of hard with the wire inside there. How can I push? Oh yeah, it'll be a challenge, but it'll work. I'm doing one wire at a time. I thought I'd reposition to give you front row seats. There's the wires coming through. I just need to be able to kind of get them all up here. Have an awkward space to work in. I don't know. Oh yeah, that helps. That definitely helps. I can just push through some length here. That gives me a bunch down there. Bunch up here. There's not a lot of room to work in this box. It's funny they make this big box without any consideration for wire routing. And the other thing that kind of complicates things is I'm using 12 gauge wire. It'll be a little easier with something smaller. I'm still not sure about this ground situation. I think I will just drill and tap that. So I'm going to go see what I've got for drills that match screws that I have that match taps that I have, so I can work something out there. Even in my disarrayed universe, sometimes things come together. I have a whole box of 1024 screws, yay, and a 1024 tap, of course. And I even have the proper size drill, a 5 30-seconds drill that I need to drill the holes for this. So this is coming together quite nicely. So I'm just going to pick an arbitrary location. I'm going to say right around here because it's easy to get to. And I'm going to slug a hole in this thing. Now, yeah, okay, fine, the conduit's grounded and everything, but I'm just being extra careful. Cast iron's a nice material. Just about launched the whole thing. Oh, tap wrench. What do I got? I have this thing. This is one of those kind of quality style tap wrenches. Will that go down? Oh yeah, that'll work. I can drop that in there. Tighten that up. Okay, I can form a bit of a loop in that. Cut that off. Tighten that down. Where'd that screw go? There it is. That going the right way. Up. Screwdriver. And tighten that down. Okay, that's better than what was there before. Well, card was full again. And the camera doesn't give me any kind of warning, so I have to just kind of check every once in a while. So missed a little bit. I connected 2 of these wires. Well, I connected, they're just loose on the screw terminals for now. So I'll just do the other 2 and strip the wire as well. That's the other thing that was missed. So I'm just putting a loop on that. Bending it up and around. And I have a knack for making the loops too small. And they have a knack for not coming off the screws when I've done that. Okay, there we go. Put a washer, all you can see is my hands. You'll have to just believe me if I do that. No, there's no way to Okay, there's blue. They're all just loose, but I'll tighten those up. And now this one, it's gonna be out of focus. It's just zoomed. That's probably too small. Try that. Kind of put the end at an angle. Away. Just gonna snug them a bit and then go back and tighten them. What the angle red is exiting at, just because it's not consistent. There we go. Put a little torque on them. I'm going to make sure that nothing's in the way of this thing when it swings around. It comes kind of close, but we're good. All the wires squished to one side. Okay, I think that's good to go. Ground's connected. All those are connected. I was going to take a picture with my phone so I'd remember the color code, but I'm pretty sure this video will suffice. And that's it. I can put the lid on that thing. I probably won't need to go back into this box for quite some time. So we'll, what was this set to? Around there. Wow. Wish it'd gone that easy before. Tighten that thing up. I'm a little off camera. Okay, with that thing wired, I think it's time to figure out once and for all how I plan on mounting it. I know I'd said at some point I'm going to use some tap cons and put them into the concrete, but I don't feel like doing that. What I think I will do is attach, this is just an example, but just a piece of 2x4 onto that plate up there and bring it down the wall, I don't know, probably around here. So what is that? I should measure that. This is an example. If I come down, you still see? Yeah. So that's on the high side. That's probably good. 30 inches. So I need a couple 30-inch pieces of 2x4, and I'll screw those into there, and then screw that backer board onto those, or some sequence of events similar to that. Okay. After thinking about it for a very, very, very long time, I mean a couple seconds, I realized it'd make a lot more sense to attach the 2x4s to the backer board before putting it on the wall. The bolts stick through the back of the T-nut just a little tiny bit, so I'm going to mark where it would hit this 2x4 and just kind of drill a relief on that spot. And just... doesn't need to go all the way through. That'll be good enough. Just enough to clear the end of the bolt. Get 'em. There's one. I'll just wander around the other side here for number 2. I want this kind of behind the press. Let's start with that there. Oop. Yeah. This is really convenient working like this. 2 more screws. Oh, I put them right here. Look who's organized. Once. Ow. I'm gonna stab myself. Okay. Oh. One corner. Okay, there we go. Just tighten those up. Oh, I should check if that's... Looking good. I'm happy with that. So I just connected the conduit, connected the ground inside, threw the lid on the box for now, and then hopefully tomorrow or someday soon here I'll be picking up the little conduit majigger to hang off of there, so I can put the switch box, run the power out of that, and also the directional switch I need to attach. And there's a whole bunch of work left on the motor because the bearing sounded a bit rough. Ooh, I touched it. So some cleanup there. I'm glad I didn't drop that on the press. I worked really hard to get this all cleaned up, and I didn't want to wreck it. So that's good news. Oh, one other thing I wanted to point out. I'll grab what's right down here. I just thought I'd take a quick diversion for some printing related content. This is a box of cuts. A milk crate full of cuts. When I was a kid, these were kicking around my parents' place in one of the sheds. There's one other crate on the other side of the garage of these cuts, and they spent a long time outside, so some of them are in pretty rough shape. They're halftones. I don't think a lot of them will print anymore. There's some other ones. What does it say? I should be able to read this upside down and backwards. He never played football, but he helped the team score a winning touchdown. I don't know. These, I think they came with my parents, the first house they bought in Canada. That says airport, I think. It's it's in the middle of nowhere basically, and these are with the house. This is a guy holding a gun. This is another halftone. So I don't know. I'm gonna try, see if I can do something to resurrect them, get them back to printing state. Some of them are, that's interesting, it's a plastic, or bakelite. Amstel beer, the great beer of Holland. So I remember there being a lot of beer related cuts in here. This one's actually in good shape. He appears to be playing shuffle puck. So yeah, they're all just kind of stacked face to face and not in the most kind of manners, but that's the way they've been stored, so I just kind of just stuck with it. And then once I get around to getting some galley cabinets made and getting these organized, I'll go through and find the good stuff. Anyway, there's some of these are just, this is the mountings obviously hooped. Smart interiors don't just happen. They are planned. Eaton's contract division. So that's kind of neat. Anyway, so I'd give a quick tour of that.